Some of the best players are really good at making your life hell. But how do they do it? Well, at the core, it means they force you to make mistakes. And the most mistakes happen when you have difficult decisions to make. In this hand, Rigged Egg opens queens, gets 3-bet by Davy Jones, one of the top crushers, and elects to just call instead of 4-betting. That's a lower frequency play, but still fine in GTO. The flop is low, which is one of the best things queens could hope for. And against the half-pot c-bet, we have two options. Call or raise. Now both options are fine according to the solver. Raising makes sense because especially medium and medium to high pocket pairs benefit from protection against overcards, and they can get called by many worse hands. Calling is fine as well, because we still need to protect our calling range. But raising has an additional benefit. It's not easy to play against. Davy would have to construct a balanced 3-betting range, which can't only consist of his medium and medium to high pairs, but also has to include bluffs like Jack-10 suited, Queen-10 suited, Queen-Jack suited, and Ace-King. Not easy to find. In reality, your average opponent deviates from GTO in most situations. And to show you some examples of how you can exploit them, I made a free 5-day exploit series that you can access through the link below. But it doesn't stop here, because besides the 3-betting range, the calling range isn't easy to get right either. Any pair can continue against a raise, but all high cards are in a much more difficult spot. Because while Ace-King and Ace-Queen can continue purely against such a small raise, almost all hands worse than that have to play a mixed strategy. Which is simply sad for the solver, but for humans, that's really hard to actually apply. Are you sitting here in the small blind knowing you have to call Ace of Hearts, Jack of Clubs 50% of the time? That you call Ace-7 of Spades 27% of the time? That you call King-10 of Clubs 60% of the time? Or that you even call 10-8 of Hearts 50% of the time? Probably not. And if that is already hard for an elite high-stakes player, how do you think the average mid and low-stakes player handles this situation? Davy calls and the turn is the 7 of Spades. So when we have the chance to bet here, what are our options? We have just less than pot left, so jamming is one obvious option. Queens are almost always ahead here, and one argument is that getting all the money in now prevents us from having an uncomfortable situation if the river is an ace, king, 4, 5, or even a spade. But considering what we just learned, is it the best option to force our opponent into making a mistake? Giving us only a jam as an option, in GTO, the small blind would have to defend a range like this against our turn jam. Which does require some knowledge, but it's also not rocket science. We call every pair, we call every ace-high flush draw, we call the best king-high flush draws, we call our combo draws, and we mix calls and folds with ace-king. A fairly straightforward strategy that a guy like Davy Jones should play in his sleep, and your average opponent on lower stakes will likely not deviate too much from either. So what about a different option? Facing the small bet is a completely different story. This size is actually what the solver would mostly use with our range and our hand if we give it both bet size options. And it does exactly what we wanted. Force our opponent into a difficult decision. Because first of all, it requires the small blind to construct a balanced check-raising range, which the jam did not. And even if you say we don't need the check-raising range to be balanced, because real opponents are not playing GTO, then I could partly agree. But still, that's a decision you have to make in the first place, and still construct your range accordingly, which requires a lot of brain power. And secondly, even the calling strategy is much more difficult. To understand why, let's have a look at a simple framework you can also use in-game to put your opponents in tough spots. The easiest way to do that is to look at the hand class they have most often. Here, it's ace-high by a far margin. 40% of the small blind's range getting to the turn is ace-high according to GTO. In reality, you don't have a solver when you're playing, so you simply have to estimate this. Then you think about which bet size puts that hand class into the most trouble, which usually means many hands in that hand class become indifferent and mix actions. Because mixed strategies are the hardest to play for humans. Instead of mixing at the right frequency, most humans simply tend to always call or always fold that specific hand when they have to make a decision in-game. And here, a roughly 30% pot bet achieves exactly that. A lot of ace-highs become mixed calls and folds. And what's even better is that the river jam achieves the same thing once more. Well, Davey played his hand according to GTO. Calling the flop raise is approved, calling the turn bet happens rarely, but sometimes, and even on the river, his hand would be mostly a call. Mixing, of course, but never a clear fold. In contrary to if he had faced a jam on the turn. In reality, you can also leverage the fact that players on average fold or call more often against specific bet sizes. So you can exploit them even more directly by betting a size they call more often against when you have a value hand, and betting a size they fold more often against when you have a bluff. To see some examples of that, don't forget to access the free 5-day exploit series through the link below. And if you want to learn about another detail you have to watch out for to extract more value with your great hands, watch this video next.